Hello friends, in this video we're going to discuss what is UML diagram. Now here we'll try to understand what is UML definition, what is UML, why it is used and how UML is represented in our software system. Then what is the basic building blocks of UML, what are the symbols of UML, etc. And we'll also going to discuss what are the different kind of diagrams are coming under UML. So here in this video, we'll try to understand all basic things of UML diagram. So let's start. So what is UML diagram? Now UML stands for Unified Modeling Language. That is, UML is nothing but the language. Now we know that there are number of different programming language. Similarly, it is a unified modeling. Now modeling is, that is, we are going to represent the diagram on some model or on system. Now basically UML is a way of visualizing software program. Now here we are going to visualize our program by using collection of diagram. Now there are collection of diagrams such as activity diagram, class diagram, etc. So there are total 13 to 14 diagrams are collected under UML. But it is a way to visualize and represent some architecture of your system. Then what is the design, or you can say it's look like a blueprint of your system, and it implements some complex software system also. So it is a pictorial representation which define hierarchy and decompose software system into some component and some subcomponent, that is submodel and model. So that is the UML. Now the question is arise, why should use UML diagram, or what is the use? Now we know that UML is a standardized modeling language, that is, it's a language that pictorial representation of your system. Now UML is need to new team members or developers switching team to speed quickly. Now if we have some UML diagram, that there is a collection of diagram which can be describe your system architecture, system design, etc. And then the new members can easily speed quickly, that is new member can easily recognize and it navigate the source code, because we are mainly focused on pictorial represent or architecture or design of your system. Now the developer can put a new feature before programming take place. So that is what it is. That is what it is, a navigate of source code. So it takes place of new features, you can add it in very easily. Now the main important things of UML, that is communication. Now it is used to communicate with the technical and non-technical audience also. That is, by architecture or by blueprint you can recognize what is the way of your system. So the communication is the very important role plays under UML diagram. Now divided into two parts, that is, first is the behavioral diagram and structural diagram. Now what is meant by behavior? Behavior, that is, we are going to make a working process, or what kind of working process are coming that we represent into the behavioral diagram. That is, for example, activity, what is the sequence, what is the state, use case, all these diagrams are coming the behavior. The name itself suggests it gives a working of your system, or what is the progress of your system, or sometimes it is also called as a dynamic diagram, because it gives the runtime execution of your system. And the second type is nothing but the structure diagram. Now structure diagram is nothing but the what is the fundamental structure of your system, or the fundamental basic things, or fundamental some platform. You can refer it as a static. Like for example, what kind of classes you are going to implement, or what kind of classes it included, or for example database also. So database classes are describe your structure of your system, That's why it is coming under the structure diagram. So basically, UML diagram can categorize by two things, that is the behavioral and structure diagram. Now let's understand what are the diagrams coming under the structure diagram, because there are total 13 to 14 diagrams which are coming under UML, but it divided into two distinct groups, that is the structure and behavioral. Now structure, that is the basic things or basic backgrounds of your system, that defines like what are the class diagram, what are the classes, what are the package you are using throughout the system, what is the object, what are the component, composite, and how it deployed your system. So it is structure, that is it give the basic things or platform or background of your system. That's why it is called as a structure diagram. Now the second type of UML is nothing but the behavioral diagram. Now under this behavioral diagram, you can refer it as a behavioral, or what is the working or what is the process of your system. Like for example, what is the activity, what is the sequence, use case, state, communication, interaction, etc. So these are all diagrams shown under your system called as a behavioral UML diagram. So these are two types, that is the structural diagram and behavioral diagram. Now let's understand what are the basic building blocks. Now UML required the basic building blocks, that is first is the things, second relationship, and third is the diagram. Now things here are nothing but the real-time entity. Now which kind of real-time entity is included in your system is nothing but the things, that is it can be structural, behavioral, grouping, annotation, etc. And relationship, like what is the association in between two elements, because we know that system can make a group of element or group of component. So association between component, then dependency, generalization, realization. These kind of relationship are executed into the UML, and diagrams can be divided into structure and behavioral. Now let's understand this relationship, what is association, dependency, etc. Now here the relationship can be described by using UML diagram symbols. So these are the UML diagram symbol. The first is the association. Now what is association? Association gives the connectivity of element, that is it defines how objects are taking part into the relationship. And realization, or you can refer as implementation. Now implementation, that is you can implement another system modules, or it is also denoting by the interfaces. So realization is denoted by these symbols. Dependency, now dependency is nothing but the if one object or direction of dependency from one object to another object, or depending on the target element. And generalization, now generalization concept is nothing but one component can follow to the another component or sub-component, or you can refer it as a inheritance, and it is shown by these symbols. So it is called as a parent-child relationship. Now this kind of things is represent the inheritance concept. And aggregation and composition. Now under the generalization, these two things, different models, that is aggregate to objects or element. That is we can inherit characteristics model system to the submodel. That is nothing but the aggregation. And composition, now what is composition? Composition is nothing but we can divide or make the subpart, that is module to the submodules, and that is nothing but composition, and it is denoted by this diagram. So this is all about the UML diagram symbol. So we are using these symbols and we can draw a different kind of UML diagram which is divided into two main parts, that is behavioral and structure diagram. Now this is all about the basic things of UML, that is UML is unified modeling language. Then it have some basic things or some basic building blocks like things, relationship, and diagrams. And these are some symbols which are used under UML. Now let's conclude this video. Model is said to be abstraction of system that hides the implementation of details. That is, system can hide some abstraction and implementation details, but by using UML you can represent it like architecture, or it can be provide blueprint structure of your system. Now symbols are defined the structure and behavioral aspect. That is, there are two types of UML diagrams are there, structure and behavior. Now things relationship diagrams are the three building blocks of UML, and things is nothing but the real world entity. Now various symbolic tables or symbols are used to represent the different single system. So this is all about the UML, and this is all basic information of UML diagram. Now in next video we are going to discuss what is mean by class diagram. Thank you.